Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we are gonna this is my channel, right? If you haven't seen these videos of mine of my phone, 1 2 3 4 5, I've recorded this in my phone. If you haven't watched it, go watch it first. And today we are gonna react to some zack animation. Let's go. Zack Films animation. We are gonna. Let's go. Oh, let's react to some Zack Films. Oh, let me go to the most popular ones. Let's go.
When you get stitches, a doctor threads a needle through your wound and pulls it tight to close the skin. As the stitches...
This is the first one, guys. Let's see.
You get stitches. A doctor threads a needle through your wound and pulls it tight to close the skin. As the stitches hold the edges together, the wound becomes inflamed as new cells begin to repair the tissue. Afterwards, connective tissues and collagens start to create skin. Then, blood vessels form to nourish these developing tissues, filling in the area. And over a few weeks, the wound will have healed together and the stitches are removed. When you get stitches, a doctor... If you get a splinter, most people just go ahead and pull them out. But sometimes they get lodged so deep into your skin that you can't reach them.
That actually happened to me. Yes, it actually happened to me. And after I washed my hand, it gone out.
If the area gets infected, it will start to swell as pus forms under the skin. This creates pressure around the splinter that can sometimes push it upwards towards the skin's surface. And if you're lucky, after a certain period of time, your body could have completely removed it from your skin. If you get a splinter,
$20 is all you need to learn all relevant AI tools in 2025.
Have you ever noticed how odd the McFlurry spoon is? Well, some people think it's supposed to work like a straw, but you only have to try that once to realize it does not work. The true reason for these weird spoons is actually pretty genius. You see, McDonald's didn't want to clean their beaters after every McFlurry, so instead, they designed a spoon that would also work as the mixer. Have you ever noticed how odd the McFlurry spoon is?
if you shot a bullet at ancient armor, some people think it could actually stop the impact. But armor like chainmail was designed to block slashing swords, and plate armor was even better at deflecting strikes by spreading the blunt force across more area, lessening its impact. But these materials weren't very good at stopping arrows, which had enough energy to enter the armor, so a bullet would have no trouble going right through. If you shot a bullet at ancient armor, some people think it could actually stop.
Good.
If you somehow removed all of the blood vessels in your body and tied them together, you might think it would be about this long. But the human body has thousands of these tiny vessels that weave in and out of every body part. And with all of them combined, if you started in New York, your blood vessels would make it all the way to the Grand Canyon. It would go on to reach all the way across the Pacific Ocean, over Japan, Asia, and all of Europe. And not only would it make it all the way back to your starting point, but it would be able to make this trip 2 to 4 times over. If you somehow removed all of the blood vessels in your body and...
Guys, what will happen when all of the people on this earth will remove their blood vessels and... Oh my god, that's very...
When a doctor gives you a shot, they can sometimes accidentally push the needle all the way through your vein, which ends up puncturing both sides. Once the needle is removed, it leaves 2 holes in the vein. And before the
I was just about to give a vaccination after some days from now, and why am I watching this right now? I'm very scared.
Body can thicken the blood and seal these holes. It bleeds into the surrounding tissues. This leaked blood forms a dark, tender area under the skin, creating bruises and splotchy areas. When a doctor gives you a
Premium jobs are never posted.
That's cool.
Have you ever wondered how this trick is done? It's one of those things where you know he can't actually be making the salt disappear, but it's still confusing to look at. Well, it turns out that the simplest explanation is the right one. Look closely at his hand during this shot. Do you notice how he sort of grabs his thumb here? Well, this is because he's using a prop called a dofi finger. He holds it in his fist like a cup, fills it up with the salt, gets it onto his other thumb, and then grabs it off his thumb back into the first position. Watch it again and see if you can notice. Have you ever wondered how this trick is done? It's one of those things where you know he can't actually be making...
If you lose one of your adult teeth, the bone where the tooth once was can start to deteriorate. To prevent further damage, a dentist will fill the cavity with a synthetic material that mimics real bone. Once filled, a metal bracket is secured on top and the incision is closed. After the graft has healed, a large implant post is inserted into the new bone. Then, a small metal piece is screwed in and a porcelain tooth is secured on top. If you lose one of your adult teeth, the bone... If you accidentally touched a table saw, you'd probably think your fingers would be cut off. But this isn't always the case. You see, some modern high-end saws actually know the difference between wood and your skin. Once your finger comes in contact with these special saws, it immediately detects the electrical conductivity from your skin. This triggers an immediate mechanical response that stops the blade in less than 5 milliseconds. If you accidentally touched a table saw, you'd probably think your fingers would be cut off. But this isn't always the case. You see, some modern high-end... When a honeybee stings a human, they actually get stuck for a while and can't leave. And this is because their stinger is barbed, which means it can't retract once it's lodged into something. But once the bee finally pulls away, its insides get ripped out because the stinger stays in the skin. This leaves the bee without some of its internal organs, resulting in its death. When a honeybee stings a human, they actually get stuck for...
You're saying anyone can become a...
Have you ever wondered about this little dangly thing at the back of your throat?
Never.
Well, even though it looks like a miniature
so.
punching bag, it actually serves a handful of important functions. You see, when you swallow food, this thing called a uvula actually swings backwards to prevent the food from going up your nose. It's also constantly producing saliva to keep the throat moist, which aids in swallowing. And because there's a tiny muscle inside the uvula, it can move around, which helps you speak. Have you ever wondered about this little dangly thing at the back of your throat? Well, even though it looks like a miniature punching... If you're trapped in the trunk of a vehicle, you should immediately start searching for the glow-in-the-dark release hatch. If you don't see the latch, don't panic. Trunks are not airtight, so there's no risk of running out of oxygen. Try feeling around the edges of the trunk for a handle. This may allow you to release the seat back. As a last resort, kick out one of the brake lights. This small opening will allow you to signal for help. If you're trapped in the trunk of a vehicle, you should immediately...
Do you suffer from acidity or bloating?
Imagine waking up in a coffin and realizing that you were mistakenly buried alive. Now, this wouldn't happen with the medical guidelines we have today. But in the 19th century, old coffins were found with scratch marks on the inside, making this a legitimate concern. So as a solution, they started adding strings inside the coffins that traveled up to the ground and were connected to a little bell. And if you woke up underground in a coffin, you could just ring the bell, signaling that you're still alive. Imagine waking... If you're stuck in a water slide that's filling up with water, most people think they should try to climb back up. But the slippery surface makes this nearly impossible.
Absolutely
Instead,
not.
focus on staying calm and try to create space for air by tilting your head back. If water keeps rising, use your hands to push yourself forward. If you can't move, brace yourself as the water fills the slide entirely. Once the pressure equalizes, you may be able to push forward and float to safety. If you're stuck in a water slide that's filling up with water,
Yep.
if you get a skin tag, some people think you can just rip them off yourself, but you actually shouldn't do this. You see,
I
skin
did
tags
it.
are connected to your body by a thin piece of tissue. And if you looked inside of it, the tag actually has its own nerves and blood vessels. Ripping it off would cause significant bleeding, and the open wound would be susceptible to infection. Instead, if you want them removed, a doctor can freeze them off with liquid nitrogen, which is a better option. If you
I wouldn't do that from now.
Have you ever wondered why the letter E isn't used to grade? Teachers use A, B, C, D, and F, but they skip E. Why is that?
I know, guys. Why they skip E? I think because E actually, when the teachers give E because of the field, so the children go to their parents and tell them E means excellent. So that's actually illegal. So they have put an F instead of an E, and F clearly means fail, I guess.
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You see, back in the day, schools did use the letter E, but in the 1930s, they decided to stop after students and parents thought that it meant excellent. It was quickly
knew it.
replaced with F, because F for failed made more sense. Have you ever wondered why
Rohan is our new manager. You're not.
The soldier's foot would break through a hidden bamboo slat and into a hole if they stepped onto a cartridge trap. Inside, a bullet was positioned on top of a nail that was fastened to a wooden board. And when the soldier's foot hit this shell, it pushed the nail into the primer.
What did I do?
The soldiers stepped onto a cartridge trap.
Yes.
Inside, a bullet was positioned on top of a
Oh my
nail that was
God, it
fastened to a
hurts
wooden
so
board.
badly.
And when the
Injured.
soldier's foot hit this shell, it pushed the nail into the
get
primer.
injured.
This caused the shell to suddenly explode and shoot back up at the soldier. The soldier's foot would break through. When you use a derma roller, it pushes a bunch of tiny needles into your face, creating small punctures across the surface. Your brain perceives these small holes as wounds, which triggers your body's natural healing response. The body then sends out cells to make collagen
I
and
would never
elastin,
use
which
that.
helps your skin stay firm and stretchy. Over time, these cells strengthen the skin, giving a firmer and more youthful appearance. When you use a derma roller, it pushes a
that's
bunch of
actually
tiny needles into your...
Okay, guys, that's it for today. We have seen some of the Zack films, and we are gonna meet in the next video of Zack films, I guess. Ooh. Phew. There is my chips. I need to eat it right now, and guys, we'll meet in the next video of Zack films or Chicken Gun, I guess, or some many games. Till then, bye bye guys, see you in the next video.